Hey, let's focus on our legs today in chair yoga. Join me. We're going to start on a comfortable, sturdy chair and wearing comfortable, sturdy shoes or barefoot. My floors are a little cold today, so I'm going with the shoe option. I'm going to turn my chair just to a diagonal so you can see, but you can sit facing any direction that works for you and your space. So I've got my sturdy chair, and I've also got a yoga block handy, or maybe a stack of books, or a can of paint, or a box of wine, something about this size just to help bring the ground up a little closer when we reach for things. I'm going to set that off to the side for now. And I'll take a nice tall seat on my chair. Instead of squishing all the way back and resting my back on the back of the chair, the backrest, I'm going to sit tall so that there's space between my back and the back of the chair. I'll place my feet underneath my knees so I have a nice sturdy stance, and I'll lengthen my spine. Hands to the lap, soften the arms, and just take a few breaths. We'll settle into our seat. We'll feel the support and the firmness of our seat underneath us. We'll feel the air as we inhale and exhale, moving past the throat, filling our lungs, lifting and expanding the chest, the rib cage, and then exhaling that same breath of air back out again. One more time, a nice full, longer than usual breath. And we'll gently raise our gaze and allow our breathing to return to its normal rhythm. Walking our feet out just a little wider than our knees, a little wider than usual. Let's bring the hands out to the knees or even the front of the knees and really lift our heart center away from the belly. So we have a nice tall stance. We can lift the chin, lift the nose, lengthen through the front of the neck, and then exhale and lengthen the back of the neck, lowering the chin, lowering the nose. So breathing in, we'll lengthen the front of the neck. Breathing out, we'll lengthen through the back of the neck. Just notice all the tension in the neck and shoulders and upper back, in the chest, maybe the jaw, any type of accumulated tension that we might have gathered there today. It's like a very slow motion nodding of yes. Now we'll come back to center, nose at the horizon, and inhale as we turn our nose over to one side. And then we'll exhale as we return the nose to center. We'll inhale, turning our nose to the other side. And we'll exhale as we return the nose to center. One more time on each side. Breathing in. It's even slower than our yes. We'll return back to center. So we did the yes, we did the no, now we'll do the I don't know. Shrugging our shoulders up, rolling them back, I don't know, and down. We'll do that again, up, back, and down. One more time. And down. Okay. Fingers come to the inside of the knees, elbows point wide. Again, we're seated with the back away from the backrest of the chair. My feet are a little wider than my knees. I'm sitting tall. Exhale. Let's bring our left shoulder down toward the opposite knee, the right knee. And we'll inhale and sit tall again. As we exhale next, right shoulder toward the left knee. Oh yeah, what a twist. I can feel snap, crackling, and popping going on in my spine. Inhaling, sitting tall. Exhaling, sandwich fold they call this. Although I don't know what would happen to a sandwich if we tried to fold it like this. We'll breathe in. This time as we exhale down, let's pause here for a few breaths. Then we'll inhale ourselves tall. We'll exhale as we fold to the other side. Pause there for a few breaths. Inhale ourselves tall. And then bring our forearms down to our legs. You can hold your own hand. It's like a yoga huddle. We'll discuss our plan today. We're going to do some thigh strengthening exercises, some hip rotations, and some back of the leg stretches for the Achilles all the way on up through our hamstrings. It's a little forward fold here. Check in with the front of your torso. See that there is space between your heart center and your belly, so you're not crunching it down, hunching the back, but instead lengthening so the front of the torso is just as long as the back of the torso. And then check in with your neck. If you feel like the back of the neck is kinked and the front of the throat is stretched open, see if you can find balance between the two. Maybe lowering the gaze down to the floor in front of you. Just a slight forward tilt of the torso here. We'll have another breath or two here. Bringing the lower belly down to the inner thighs. And then we'll sit up nice and tall. Fingertips to their own shoulders. Place your feet under the knees, and we'll do some kayak paddling. Rotating our elbows in circles in the air. One up, the other down. And then we're going to reverse that kayak paddle. This is bringing some gentle movements into our rib cage and our lungs and our upper torso here, in addition to the shoulders, the neck, the chest. Alrighty, holding our arms out wide, let's inhale and unfold. Exhale, we'll bring our fingertips back to our arms, breathing in and unfolding. Breathing out and folding back in. One more time. We can release our arms down. Let's take our hands to the side of the chair and point our elbows a little bit behind us so that we have a nice broad lifted heart center. Then we're going to bring our attention into our belly button. Firm that belly button in toward the spine, maybe even lifting a little of the lower belly up toward the heart. This is activating our core muscles, as you've probably heard a lot of people talk about core. And sometimes you have to wonder, what the heck is my core? How do I get in contact with that? Start with the belly button moving in, the low belly moving up toward the heart. So secured with the hands at the sides of the chair, we have a nice stable stance. We're planting our right foot. We'll take a breath in. And as we exhale, extend and lift the left foot into the air. And we'll inhale to bend it down again. As we exhale, we'll blow out the mouth and nose and we'll lift the toes. Inhaling to bend. Again, that belly button, low abdomen effort can help with this. Inhaling as we lower. Exhaling to lift. Inhale to lower. Let's take just a relaxed breath or two here. And we'll do that same thing on the other side. So hands, belly button, low abs. Take a breath in. Exhale, extend. This time it's the right foot lifting. And then as we inhale, we lower it. Exhale. Notice what parts of your body are used for this effort. I feel it in my low back. I also feel it in my opposite rib cage. I mean, there's a lot of effort going on to lift this foot into the air. One more breath in, and as we exhale, we'll lift. Inhale to lower. Alrighty, let's tap out our heels a little bit. Tap, 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 tap. Tap. Let our knees sway from side to side. Now we'll take that left foot, extend it out long, and root the heel down onto the floor. So we have a nice long leg. We might have to scoot all the way forward on the chair so that we can comfortably get that long leg extended, heel rooted onto the floor. Now the right foot is going to stay stable underneath the knee. So we have a nice stable position here. I've got my hands on the sides of the chair for balance, and I'll lift my heart center. Sitting tall, long front side of the torso, just like the back of the torso is long. I'm imagining there's maybe a little string coming out of the top of my hair, top of my head, lifting my entire torso length up toward the sky. All right, now if I feel balanced here, I can take my hands off the chair, extend them out in front of me, palms facing each other. We'll broaden through the front of the collarbone so our shoulders are not hunched forward, but we have nice broad shoulders. Then I'll bend my elbows 90 degrees, and then I'll choose how high to lift my elbows. Me and my shoulders will decide that. Maybe one shoulder is a little cranky and wants to stay a little lower today. Maybe both shoulders do. Whatever position works for you today. But we'll lift our hands, still palms facing each other, and we'll have a few breaths here. If you'd like to activate this a little more, you can try hovering that left heel just a half an inch off the ground. But keep the breath flowing in and out. If you find that your effort is causing your breath to hold, then release a little until the breath can flow again. One more breath here. We'll exhale, releasing our elbows down, bringing our hands back to our chairs. Sitting tall once again, heart center lifted away from the belly. Now we can bring our right hand to the right knee and we'll reach our left arm out over the left leg and then lower that left hand down to wherever it wants to land. Maybe your shin, your thigh, maybe even reach for the foot, whatever works for you. We'll have a few breaths here. Notice the effort in your low belly. As you exhale, release through the low belly. See if that helps with the fold aspect. And as you inhale, lengthen through the spine. Pull the top of the head a little further away from your hips. And then we'll reach up, return our hands to our lap or to the sides of the chair. Let's bend this right knee or left knee, put the left foot on the ground, tap out those heels, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Right leg extends long. We're going to root that right heel. We'll sit tall here. Hands come maybe to the chair. Elbows can point behind us, reminding our heart center to stay lifted, our chest to be broad. And then when we feel our balance, we can lift our hands out in front, palms facing each other. Bend the elbows and choose how high to lift those elbows. And then check in with your breath. Make sure it's still flowing in and out. If you'd like to add the added challenge of hovering that right foot just an inch off the ground or half an inch, that's fine. Make sure you keep breathing. One more breath here. And we'll lower our hands, lower that foot to the ground if it isn't already there. Left hand comes to the left leg. Left foot's just underneath the knee, nice and stable. We reach our right hand out and then lower that right hand down to wherever it lands. Now I've kept my right toes active. They're pulling back toward the kneecap just a little bit, keeping that whole foot slightly flexed. So I'm really rooting that heel. I'll have another breath or two here. Softening the belly as I exhale. Feeling that stretch in my low back this morning. Feeling that stretch in my low back today. And I'll inhale myself up. Return the hand Bend that right knee. Tap out those heels. Woo. Alrighty. Let's let our knees sway from side to side. Reintegrate the muscles of our hips, our low back. And then once again, we'll widen our feet a little bit. So this time, if you have, we're gonna do a forward fold. Maybe we'll reach for the ground, maybe we'll reach for our shins, or if you have another landing pad, like a block or something else like it nearby, we'll place that out there somewhere between our feet. Fingers come to the inner knees, elbows wide, we sit tall. Exhale, move the heart center forward, tip the whole torso forward, bend those elbows, lower the gaze so the back of the neck is not kinked. And then maybe reach for your landing pad or your shins or your shoes or toes, whatever feels good for you. To rest the hands on a landing pad allows more of the low back to release and soften into this forward fold. We're really concentrating on lengthening the spine, softening the belly, and bringing that belly forward to the thighs or even between the thighs if your feet are at a nice wide stance. Now if you're folded here and you're pretty close to belly to thighs and you'd like to try rounding the spine, you can reach a little further, turn your block a bit. Maybe allow the upper back to droop toward the ground. Let the back of the neck lengthen as the head dangles more toward the ground. Maybe you don't even need a landing pad. You can reach for the ground, whatever feels good for you. Now, if there's any pain or discomfort in your back, especially the low back, then we need to ease our way out. Find a place that's a forward fold that doesn't put the pressure on the low back or the neck or anywhere else for that matter. One more calming, grounding breath here in this forward fold. And then we can inhale ourselves tall. Move our landing pad or block out of the way. Draw our attention back to our legs again. So we did some leg lifts earlier. We're going to do leg lifts with a little add-on. So we'll plant our right foot underneath the knee. We'll sit tall, a few inches of space between our back and the backrest of the chair. I'm going to hang on to the sides of the chair, point my elbows a bit behind me to help remind my heart center to stay lifted and broad. We'll take a breath in here. Let it go. Now we'll bring our attention to our belly button and that lower area below the belly button, moving in toward the spine and up a little toward the heart. This also activates your pelvic floor a bit. So we'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's extend out our left leg. We're going to hold it here for a few breaths. Now, if you're here and you're thinking, yep, that's work, and this is your place, if you'd like to add a little more challenge on, you can try extending the arms out, bending them at the elbows, choosing how high to lift those elbows, and we'll take 2 or 3 breaths here. One more breath. And then as we exhale, we can lower our hands, lower that left foot. Whew, release that. Let's give ourselves a little twist side to side. Fingers can point in on the knees, elbows wide. We turn our shoulders one direction and then the other, reintegrating that effort. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Left foot plants underneath its knee. We sit tall. I've got my hands on the side of the chair, elbows pointed behind me. Breath in and let it go. Concentrating on our Mula Bandha is what we call this in yoga, our lower belly and pelvic floor effort. Moving in toward the spine, up toward the heart. As we exhale, we can extend off this right leg this time. Hold it there. If this is your place of work, so be it. If you'd like to add more, add the arms. But keep breathing. If you get somewhere and your breath is clenched, got to back it off a little bit till you find that breath flow again. One more breath here. And we'll release our hands, release that leg down. Woo. Tap it out. Maybe twist a little bit. Turn our direction. Check that side of the room. Check this side of the room. Oh yeah. Okay. So, for spinal twists, or for spine focus again, hands to the fronts of the knees. We inhale. Let's lift our heart center, lift our gaze, arch our backs. And then as we exhale, we'll drop the gaze, drop the chin toward the chest, round and hunch the back. So as we breathe in, the pelvis tips forward, the tailbone lifts, the chin lifts, and then as we breathe out, belly button moves in toward the spine, shoulders hunch, and we slouch on the pelvis. So moving back and forth, we're just going to find a little wave of motion for the entire length of our spine. If you only have time to do 1 minute of yoga stretching for your body in a day, this is the thing I recommend you do. Keeping our spine flexible, keeping it mobile. It is the superhighway of communication for our body, for our mobility. So keeping that superhighway from getting clogged with traffic or tension is just the ticket. All right, we'll come back to center and we'll add on a little bit to our spinal twist. So I'm going to plant my feet out maybe a little wider than my hips under those knees. I'll sit tall. And I'm going to take my left hand and reach it back, nice long arm. I'll tilt my torso forward, reach that left arm back, and find some part of the chair to grab onto so that my arm can be long and my torso is reaching forward, kind of leaning my torso weight onto that arm and that support of the hand on the chair. Now I'll bring my right arm over to the left leg. Turn that palm to face out or up. And then I can creep my left hand up and along the back of the chair, maybe move it over to the top of the chair, and draw my left shoulder up toward the ceiling. I can feel that left shoulder blade really tuck in toward the spine. So I'm leaning forward and twisting and hanging off of this left arm a bit. My chair is nice and solid, so it doesn't feel like I'm going to fall forward. I've got my feet underneath me, and I'll take a few breaths here. One more breath in, and we can release, drawing that left hand down the chair, returning to a tall seat. Do that same thing on the other side. So right arm long. We lean forward, we reach back, we find some part of the chair to grasp with that right hand. The left arm comes over to its opposite leg, palm faces out or up. Turn our shoulders to the right, creeping that right hand along, maybe up toward the back of the chair. Feel that shoulder blade tuck in toward the spine. Have some soft breaths here. Feel the twist in the belly, in the back, in the shoulder. One more breath here. And we can exhale and release that. Return our way back to our seat. Okay, hands to the sides of the chair. We'll walk our feet in till our knees are as wide as our hips, as wide as our feet. Take a breath in, activate that Mula Bandha, belly button moving in toward the spine. Exhaling, lifting the left leg. Inhaling to lower. Now we'll exhale, lift the right leg. Inhale to lower. Exhale, left. We'll do 3 pairs of each, all in all. Inhale, lower. Exhale, right. Inhale, lower. Exhale, left. Inhale, lower. Exhale, right. Inhale, lower. So you might have noticed that when we lift our feet off the ground, the effort is in the legs, but it's also a lot of effort here in the torso, in our back muscles and our deeper torso muscles. And that all helps us integrate all that movement so we can stay mobile, stay steady on our feet. Another good exercise for our leg strength is to get up and back into a chair. If you've noticed when you sit down, you do that kind of release plop. Well, that's something to work on. See if we can guide ourselves down to a seat rather than flop down onto a seat. And that'll help maintain that critical connection between our leg strength, our torso strength, to keep our mobility as long as we can. So for getting up out of the chair, the exercise I recommend we do is to tuck our feet back just a couple of inches, like we're preparing to get up out of a chair, to bring our hands wide. If you're unsteady on your feet, it might help to have the back of another chair in front of you, or a counter, or the back of a table or something to reach for. And to lean forward, heart center long, spine long, place our weight in our toes, and see if we can lift up out of the chair and hover here for a few breaths. Oh yeah. And then see if we can lower down with nice gentle glide, nice gentle landing, and have a couple breaths here. So again, ease up, find our balance on our feet, weight our toes. Frequently we rock all the way back to the heels. See if we can weight our toes as well. Have a few breaths. And then gently lower down. Ooh, yeah. Have a couple of breaths here. Maybe rock our knees back and forth a little bit. Shake out some of that effort in our muscles. And we'll do it again. It's interesting to note, we can clench up muscles, we can clench our bahukis, we can also soften them and still maintain this position. And ease our way down to the seat. So that takes effort not only to strengthen the legs, but also coordinating with the torso, with our psoas muscles, with other muscles that help us when we lift our legs. All right, walking our feet back in together, we'll have some space between the back and the back of the chair, and we'll do some marching here. So lift one knee and then the other, back and forth. And if you're thinking, oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you can always reach the arms out, bending one and then the other. It's kind of a reversed walk, or if you'd like to imagine you're crawling, you can do a seated crawl. Whatever works. Now, next time our left leg is lifted, let's hold it there for a few breaths. And then we'll lower it down. Next time our right leg's lifted, hold it there for a few breaths. And lower it down. Widening those feet once again, we are going to do more of the standing up out of the chair almost type moves. So tuck our heels in maybe an inch or two so that we can get our weight right over the middle of the feet. I've got my feet bent out a little bit so that my thigh bone direction and my toe direction are pointing the same way. That'll help keep strain off of my knees. I'm going to lean my weight off the chair, lift and hover for just an inch, and then if I'd like to add more on, I can reach my arms forward. Arr, it's like the Hulk, arr, broadening through the upper back. Have a breath here. And then see if we can ease our way down onto the chair. We'll do that 2 more times. Now you know where we're going. Find our Hulk stance here, hovering just a few inches off the chair. Nice broad upper back. See if you can send your breath to the back of your torso. And then we'll sit our way back down. And we'll do that 1 more time. Weighting those toes, making sure all parts of the feet are connecting to the ground. It's up to you if you want to clench here or soften. And then we'll ease our way back down. Okay, walking our feet in, let's tap them out a little bit. Let's extend out that left leg, put that foot down onto the ground. We're going to sit tall, lift our heart centers. Inhale our arms up to T-shape. Exhale, turn to the right. The left hand comes to the right leg. The right hand can grasp onto the chair or hook over the back of the chair. We're still rooting through that left heel, keeping that left foot active. One more tall breath here. And then we'll peer over the side of the chair like we're looking for a lost button that fell off of our lap. Allow the head to droop, allow the shoulders to curve over here toward the right. Hopefully your chair is nice and stable. And we'll inhale ourselves tall, return to center, bend that knee. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now the right heel roots. As I push that right heel down, I feel effort here behind my right hip. I also feel the muscles of my thighs engage just a little bit. My left foot is stable underneath my left knee. Inhale my hands up. Exhale off to the left. One hand can reach or hook around the back of the chair. The other hand comes to its opposite leg. I'll sit tall. I'll broaden through the front of my shoulders. And I'll lengthen the back of the neck. One more breath here. And then we'll droop our upper torso, our shoulders, our head, like we're peering over the side of the chair, looking for, like I said, a lost button, maybe the remote, something that you value enough to search for. Then we'll inhale ourselves back up, return to center, and draw that leg in. Tap out those heels. Alrighty. So the last stretch we can do is for our hip. It involves crossing the right ankle over the left leg. You can cross down at the shin, at the upper shin if you wish to hold it there, or above the knee, whatever's accessible and comfortable for you and your right hip. Once you get it there, we'll sit tall. I'm going to hang on to the sides of my chair to point my elbows behind me to remind my heart center to stay lifted and broad. So this in itself can be a stretch. If you don't normally sit this way, you might feel some stretches in the right hip or even the right hamstring. But to really activate it, my left foot is out in front a bit so that it's not directly under my knee. I'll sit tall, maybe hang on to the chair a bit. I'll move my heart center forward, tilting my torso forward. Now do you feel it a little more in that right thigh? There goes my heater. Making a lot of sounds. If you are here, check in with the back of the neck, see if it isn't kinked, if your throat isn't open too much. Balance out the length of the front of the neck and the back of the neck, maybe lowering the gaze. Another soft breath here. We'll return back to a tall seat. You can uncross that leg, do the same thing on the other side. You can choose where to cross. It might be a different place on this side than the other. Ooh, sitting tall. Might be a different sensation on this side than the other. Make sure that right foot is out in front of the right knee a bit so we have something to lean toward. We'll bring our attention to our heart center and we'll scoot it forward, tilting the torso away from the back of the chair. Oh yeah. Have some breaths here. Check in with the neck. See if you need to lengthen the back of the neck a bit. And we'll inhale ourselves tall. We can uncross that leg. And now let's scoot all the way back in our chair so we feel the full support of the chair underneath us and behind us. We can rest our hands in our laps, maybe with our palms facing up if that works for you. We can soften our fingers, let our arms be heavy and dull. And we'll take a few moments to do a body scan, beginning with our feet. Let's inhale, clench our toes. Exhale, release the toes. Inhale, see if we can lift the heels and clench the Achilles, the area at the back of the calves. Exhale, lower the heels and release. Next, inhale, lift those toes off the ground up toward the knees. Clench the shins. Exhale and release that. Now we'll tighten our thighs, really pushing our feet into the ground. You'll feel the muscles of the thighs engage. And release. We'll squeeze our seat underneath us. And release. We'll bring our low belly in, that Mula Bandha, belly button, lower abdomen, pelvic floor. And release. We'll imagine we have a belt around our waist, our natural waist, a little higher maybe than our pants. See if you can tighten that belt for a moment. And then release. Now we'll pull our left elbow down toward the ground, engaging the left chest, the left shoulder, the left upper back. And release. We'll make a fist with our left hand. Hold the muscles of the arms strong. And release. Same thing on the right side. At first the right elbow gets pulled down, engaging that chest, torso, right side of the upper back. And release. Right fist. And release. Now clench our jaw, push the tongue up toward the roof of the mouth, scrunch up your eyebrows and nose. And then release. Let the tongue be soft, let the jaw be released. And then finally bring your attention to your ears. See if we can lift our ears up and our eyebrows toward the skin at the top of the head. Exhale and let everything melt down and soften. Let ourselves be as heavy as we can be in our chairs. Let our cheeks sag, our eyelids be soft, our hands be heavy, our feet be relaxed. And feel the breath flowing in and out of your body. Feel the position of your knees, of your hips, of your elbows, of your shoulders. Seated here in your chair. take one more longer than usual breath, holding that air in for just a heartbeat, and then letting it all go. We'll flutter our gaze open again, flutter our fingers, bring some small movements back to our body. As I close to our practice, I inhale, circle my hands up over me, bringing my palms together. Exhale those hands down into the heart center, Anjali Mudra for the hands. And I bow to you with the yoga word, Namaste. Thanks for practicing with me today. May we be stronger and better.